There are 3 easy steps in creating your resume link. Let me show you how.
Step 1. Register. Go to www.jobs180.com using any browser and click Register Now. Fill out all the information needed. In choosing your resume link, use your full name so that it looks professional and it's easy to recall by potential employers. For example, Antonio Juan de la Cruz.jobs180.com. Step 2. Create and design. When creating your resume, make sure to complete your personal information and upload your profile picture. One of the highlights of the resume link is the portfolio section. In the portfolio section, you can show off your skills by uploading samples of your work like documents, pictures, videos, and your social media links.
Your resume link also features different themes and you can upload a cover photo. This is a combination of a cover letter and a social network cover photo. Here is an example. You can also download a copy of your resume link and print it. Step 3. Apply for a job. There are many ways to apply with your resume link.
First is browsing the job recommendations in your Jobs 180 dashboard.
If you're qualified, click Submit Resume Link. So what are you waiting for? Dress up your next generation resume, stand out brightly among the competitive job seekers in the market, and win the heart of your future employers using Resume Link.
Change. It happens when you least expect it, but also when you embrace it. At Accenture, we help the world's biggest brands thrive through change. Our people combine technology and creativity, expertise and experience, learning and collaboration, passion and purpose to make a difference for our clients, their customers, our company, and our communities. Behind every great change is a great human. Bring your skills, your curiosity, and your true self to your work every day. Let's do incredible things. Let's deliver on the promise of technology and human ingenuity.
Bawat lakbay ng bituin ay may tagumpay. Anumang bagyo't lindol sa gisag mo ay aming gabay. Iba't ibang lahi at kulay nagwawagay-way patungo sa tahanan ng mga mahuhusay. Sa bawat larangan, ipapamana sa buong sambayanan.
sikat ng araw, ngalan mo'y sasayaw.
Sa pag-usbong ng tinataging galing, sulong mo'y nagliliyap pa rin.
Isnan matuwan di ako, itay tayo wanagan mo.
Ipasas na isyong syuma dyan kinadaing, itagtagay nan laing mo.
Manasasata mo, yaman alalay gusto. Ikarkararagan nga to, yaman agraksan tabo. Mansasakay kiron, manis guidan ni gusto. Isaw-sawat ko na po, dyan mandadat sa sumabay sa sinag ng araw. Tayo sa lugar ng sining na buhay. Hinuhubog ang mga atleta, pagkatat na lubasan. Tadak, universidad ng Cordilleras, sumabay sa sinag ng araw. Tayo sa lugar ng sining na buhay. Hinuhubog ang mga atleta, pagkatat na lubasan. Tadak, universidad ng Cordilleras. Tadak, universidad ng Cordilleras.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Jobs180.com's Marketing Be Live with University of the Cordilleras. So today we will be joined by speakers from Ernst & Young's, True Life UK, Trustlia, and Inspiro. So before we start, may we invite everybody for the opening prayer, followed by the singing of the national anthem.
Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below.
Bayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
All right, so again, welcome everyone. Ready na ba kayo? I hope you all are. By the way, my name is Joyce from jobs180.com. I will be your today's host, and we are live via Jobs 180 Facebook and Jobs 180 YouTube page. And we hope that everybody is excited to learn new things today. All right, so to officially start today's session, may we call on Mr. Eldon B. Soriano, the Officer of Student Affairs, to give us the opening remarks.
Thank you, Ms. Joyce, and good morning, Useans. Today marks a very exciting day for us all. This is the start of our week-long celebration of learning and to welcome all of you graduating students of school year 2021 to 2022 to the new step of your journey. Congratulations, graduates and graduating students. It had been a grueling year of ups and downs and uncertainties. The University of the Cordilleras continues to provide education, and quality services despite the challenges of the pandemic. Part of these services is the preparation of our dear students, you, not just in the academe, but also in the world of work. Today, we will discuss the new ways of the new normal and how to adjust in the changing times. First on the list is how to make use of your time effectively and be more productive during this pandemic. A lot of you may have been feeling a little bit down due to unexpected events or canceled meetups or because of the high surge of cases. Next, we'll tackle achieving financial freedom and how to make use of your hard earned money well. You know what they say, invest in yourself and in your future. Lastly, listen to our industry partners as they discuss the new normal world of work. At these times of uncertainties, being one step ahead, knowing what to expect, and what to prepare will get you ahead of the curve. With that, we welcome you to the Marketing Me Live at the University of the Cordilleras in partnership with Jobs 180. Good morning, everyone, and enjoy.
Thank you so much, Sir Eldon, for gracing the event and of course for trusting Parent Jobs 180 kahit it's the end of the school year 2021-2022. Still no, and ask niya si Jobs 180 to conduct webinar pa rin for the graduating students para daw really prepared at equipped talaga yung mga graduating ni UC. And thank you so much Sir Eldon for ayan, asking Jobs 180 na you really trust pagdating sa webinar. Thank you so much, Sir Eldon. So
Thank you
we
very
hope
much.
na marami pang future events with QC. Thank you so much po. All right. So as usual for our audience today, please comment your name, your year and your course. And if you have questions later on, please type them in so we can answer them after the talk. Don't forget to tag and share this to your friends too. So kung wala pa po sila rito, tawagin niyo na kasi nakakapanghinayang naman if mami-miss nila itong opportunity na ito kasi last webinar na po ito for the school year. So another webinar naman sa susunod na pasukan sa August. So please grab the opportunity, please tag and ask your classmates na mag-watch na join tayo this morning. Okay? So here is your schedule for today. So we have first the productivity and time of the pandemic by EYGDS. Second is Guide to Achieve Financial Freedom by Pre-Life UK Cross Lia. And third, I'm sorry, The New Normal World of Work by Inspiro, and third is Guide to Achieve Financial Freedom by True Life UK Cross Media. So again, shout out to everyone who is here na. Again, please comment your name, your year, and your course. And if as we go along, type in your questions so we can read it later. Sabi ko nga, wag po kayong mahiyang magtanong. This is your chance to ask before you face the real adulting thing or the world of work. Konting-konti na lang po, no? So kung may questions kayo, um, about sa mga topics or kung ano man out of the box yan regarding sa pag-apply nyo in the near future. So please post your questions on the comment section. So to our audience, please sit back, relax, and let us all hashtag learn together. So kilalanin na po natin ang ating unang speaker. So for our first topic, which is productivity in time of the pandemic, Sir Dennis brings with him over 18 years of experience in supporting the learning and development needs of organization across levels. Prior to joining EY, he worked with GP Strategies as the leadership and management training manager for East Asia. He has also worked with HSBC Global Service Centers, partnering with various senior leaders in 7 countries to drive leadership development. Dennis has a Bachelor of Science degree in psychology from Ateneo de Manila University. He is also a certified facilitator for situational leadership 2 program from the Ken Blanchard companies as well as the Myers Briggs Type Indicator MBT or MBTI program from CPP. He is also certified in instructor for Tracom social style and versatility in his spare time. Sir Dennis enjoys playing board games with friends and spending time with his 2 kids. So, the Talent Development Assistant Director from EYGDS, Mr. Al Dennis Supetran. Hi, Sir Dennis. Good morning po.
Good morning, Joyce. Glad to be
Morning, sir.
back
Sir,
with
can
Jobs 180 programs. Yeah.
yes, sir. Welcome again. So, Sir Dennis is here with us again. So, sir, your screen is up. So, if you're ready, I'll see you after 20 minutes for the Q&A, sir. Good luck po.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Joyce. And thank you so much as well for University of the Cordilleras for this unique opportunity. I do hope that sharing my experience and some of my own personal stories can help everyone, whether you're graduating, whether you've already graduated and have been working for some time. Welcome to our talk for today. And thank you as well to Sir Eldon from the University of the Cordilleras and also for all of the faculty and staff. So, beginnings are an exciting time for everyone. And I do hope that, as we go ahead and take a look at how to boost productivity or how to be productive at work, whether the work that you eventually get into will be face to face in an office setting, or whether you'll be able to join an organization like EYGDS that continues to also provide for opportunities for people to develop their skills regardless of their location. So a little bit about EYGDS Philippines. So EY is one of the big four or one of the four largest professional and accounting services firms in the world. We are in the same line of work as PwC, KPMG, and also Deloitte. So aside from the accounting tax services, which EY is most famous for, we also have very large local partners, and some of you may be aware of the EY local firm partner here in the Philippines, which is SGV and Company. So the EYGDS Philippines alone really has had a very productive and very fantastic 5 years being here in the Philippines. So much so that when I first started my journey in EYGDS Philippines, we were just around 500 people strong and still part of SGV. But now we've already grown into a separate entity and we are poised to actually hit our 5,000 mark. And this is regardless of the challenges that we've gone through the pandemic. And a large part of that, I believe, is really based on the decisions that EY GDS Philippines, the leaders, myself included, have made even prior to the pandemic. And that's, I think, what's going to be an important reminder for everyone as you prepare for the next phase of your life, as you begin to enter the workplace, or for those of you that have just begun your journey or your career journey. What's important to remember is that when you make decisions, are these decisions based off of fads or trends, or are these principle based decisions? An example I can give here is like for EY, because one of the key values that we promote in EY is being able to have a strong sense of teaming, right? One of the things that we did even prior to the pandemic was to ensure that all of our EY GDS Philippine staff are provided with laptops. Now, the reason for this is because we wanted people to work collaboratively with each other. So, for example, in the office building that we have in Metro Manila, which is in the Cyber Sigma building, we have 5 floors that we currently occupy. So, I'm currently situated on the 16th floor. So let's say I'm working with somebody on the 18th floor. It doesn't make sense for me to always be setting up, meetings, reserving meeting rooms. So the quickest and best ways for me was to just, sit beside the person I was working with. And you can only do that when you have laptops, right? Or you can easily transfer from, a set station to a mobile working arrangement. And that decision alone helped us to weather the pandemic. So much so that in the past year alone, and I'm just talking about from July 2021 all the way to present, we actually onboarded more than 2,700 staff. And that gives you an idea of, when you look at companies to join in the future, right? Or for those of you that are currently employed and looking for, where will your journey take you next, take a look at those companies that make those decisions, whether it's long-term decisions or short-term decisions that are based out of principle. And that's the reason why for EYGDS Philippines, we don't just focus on the traditional accounting and audit services, but we actually have a wide set and a very varied amount of services that we provide to EY, to other EY entities across the globe, as you've seen earlier in the slide, as well as our clients, right? So we have our client services teams comprised of assurance, consulting, tax, and client technology. And I'll be sharing some of the openings that we currently have for our new fiscal year. And this is the fiscal year that started this July 1st of 2022 and will run until June of next year. So this is a very good time for all of you to be able to consider joining EY. Now we also have, in addition to that, enablement services teams. So these are additional services that we provide to other EY companies as well as our clients. So these range from talent services, which are your traditional services. Like, for example, if there's somebody here in the Philippines that would like to apply for a director role, let's say in Singapore, the process by which you do the interview all the way to the contract signing from that point, because it's cross border, it's done actually by our talent services team. So we also have our MBA team. We have markets, BMC, and AWS. AWS stands for Administrative Workplace Services. So they provide executive assistant services to directors, partners, principals, and executive directors all across EY. So you can see it's not just the usual opportunities for accounting graduates, but for all graduates from whatever location. Now, earlier I was looking at the comments and people were checking in and sharing their services, and I saw that there were a lot of IT folks as well. So again, even with EYGDS Philippines, we have openings as well, and work that we do in technology services. So this is our global IT team, as well as with our consulting team. So we partner up with various organizations or tech organizations across the globe. And of course, my team, I'm part of the GDS operations team, which helps support all of the almost 5,000 EYGDS Philippines employees. And all of that was only possible because of those decisions I mentioned earlier. If those decisions were made out of trends, etc., then again, history has shown us that organizations that make or reactionary changes or reactionary decisions sometimes aren't able to adjust to new and extreme conditions. And again, the situation that we found ourselves the past 2 years, and by no means at this point in time is the pandemic ended yet, right? I think the best way to prepare for any new changes, whether again it's a new strain of COVID, whether it's now currently the monkeypox health concern that has been declared by the World Health Organization recently. What's important is that you prepare yourself. And when you prepare yourself, don't just prepare yourself for what you think is going to happen, but make sure that you're making these decisions based out of principles. And that's one of the key things I'll be speaking about for today. Now, when you think about the end goal, what is the end goal of preparation? And let me go ahead and share with you how EY looks at it. So, EY, ever since the very beginning, right? And this is not just for the 40 years of existence that EY has been as a firm, but even all the way back to 100 years back when we had our founding fathers, Alwyn C. Ernst and Arthur Young, when they set up their own companies back in the 1912 or the 1900s. Our decisions have always been based off of people. And so one of the things that we continue to build and to develop with our people now, whether it's the tie-ups we have with universities at this point, or even with all of the existing staff that we've already hired on board. And I mentioned earlier that just in this fiscal year alone, in the 1 year period from last year to present, we've already onboarded more than 2,700 individuals. Now, when you take a look at the end goal of your preparations, and when you think about how will I prepare, will I need to travel to Manila or travel to Cebu or travel to any of the commonly known city centers to be able to find a job, right? Whether you stay in the Cordilleras region, right, looking for job opportunities there. um, One thing that's important to think about is that is and or are these preparations helping you build the resilience? So when you talk about resilience, right? Resilience in Filipino is what? Right? So there's a lot of terms that we use for it. But my personal favorite is the word makunat. Right? So when we say makunat, it's not makunat in the financial sense that you don't want to spend, but rather makunat in the face of adversity, in the face of challenges. If there's one thing that the pandemic has shown us is that if we're not, able to build that level of resiliency, you makunat ka, you're not just, uh, demotivated, you're not distracted, you're not withdrawing from doing or exerting any effort by any challenges or roadblocks that you encounter, then that is really going to spell out your success, whether it's here in EY or in any other organization, right? And so when we think about it, there are just, three tips that I'd like to share with everyone. And again, there's so many different courses, different things that you can pick up. And that's why, the internet is as powerful or as terrible a tool as you use it. Diba? So if you look for the right takes, it has the capability to really, change or transform your personal and even your career perspectives, right? And when we think about the three tips, here are they. So, first off, make sure that you build the right habits. And there's no best example I can share, but the example that I've learned personally to really build, and this is based off of Stephen Covey's book, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Now, the book has been around for decades already. And I do hope that all of you, if you've not had a chance to look it up or read the book, I highly encourage you to do so. It's one of those books that, again, regardless of time, regardless of generation, the principles that it shares are principles that will work for everyone. right? So that's the first one. Out of the 7 habits, there's three in particular that I'll focus on for today's session, and that really would give you a huge boost in terms of being productive at work or even in your personal life. Because, like what I mentioned, when you talk about principle based leaderships, or when you look at things in your life or in your career that you base off of principles that are applicable in any setting, that's where you'll be able to really see, some huge changes both in your personal and even in your career. So second is manage your time and activities. And again, for those of you that are just graduating, you may have been hearing this for most of your life, diba? O dapat you need to make sure sulit yung oras mo, sulit ba yan, o ano ba makukuha mo yan, 'di ba? And any infinite variations thereof, right? But there's a simple principle behind it. And again, this is something that you'll be getting from that 7 habits, right? Now, the last tip that I have for everyone is look at how you can continue to add value to the company. So, a lot of times, fresh graduates or people that are looking to shift careers, shift companies, oftentimes what they look at is, okay, what does the company have to offer? And again, that is a very valid point of view. But the other part of that is also when you look at organizations, when you look at getting your career jump started, you also have to look at what is it that you're bringing into the company. Are you providing added value for that? Right? Because when you're able to add value to the companies that you're joining, whether it's EYGDS Philippines or any other organization, then that is something that you can highlight, that you can uh, focus on when you're doing your interviews. When you're now, let's say, for example, you're currently in an organization and you want to transfer, that's something that you can highlight. What is it that you picked up, and what is it that you can do for that new company that will add value for them, right? And so those are just the 3 tips. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the first one. So I mentioned, the 7 habits of highly effective people. It is really, I cannot, oversell this enough. Read it, and again, you don't have to read it all the way from the first all the way to the back. Some of the more effective people that I've met, what they did is they went through it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, take note that you have to do it in order. So there's a particular rationale, there's a particular logic to it, why it's numbered 1 to 7. So some people I know, what they try to do is, they try to build up the habits from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way to 7, right? So again, you don't need to read through it from start to finish all in one sitting. But what's important is that, are you building for each of the habits? Are you building them up? Are you understanding what is this? What are their individual purposes? What is the aim? And what is it that you can benefit from? So, here, when we talk about being productive and being prepared for the new normal, and in this case, the new normal is oftentimes, it the definition itself changes, right? The new normal back in 2020 for a lot of us was, everyone stay at home. We have to do everything from home. Same thing with 2021, with, albeit an increase in terms of our mobility, because again, that was the time that we are seeing the higher level of vaccinations was also equating in the lesser number of severe cases, right? So again, the infection rate was still very high, don't get me wrong, but at least the impacts were a little bit mitigated. And that's the same thing that we're seeing now. Thankfully, and this is again, a very good sign, right? Regardless of the increasing numbers that we're seeing right now, because of the high vaccination rate that we've already had across the country here in the Philippines, we're seeing less and less number of people having to progress through those, uh, severe or life-threatening cases, right? So for the first 3 habits, what are they? So be proactive. Don't wait for don't wait for things to happen before you react to them. So start off. right? So, and that's why I highly recommend get the book if you have like friends and relatives. And this shows you how popular this book was, especially back in the 80s and the 90s, where almost every professional that I knew during that time would have copies of this book. So again, borrow it, buy it, read it, right? But make sure that you have a copy of it. So first one is be proactive. Don't wait for things to happen. What's the second one? Begin with the end in mind. And again, for this one, some of you may have an idea, an inkling, because this talks about your purpose. What is it that you want to achieve, right? So again, some of you may still be in the process of finding out your purpose, and that's why in EYGDS Philippines, one of the things that we do is we have a program in place, and this is what's called the EY badges, and it's a global program for EY, for all 400,000 individuals that are employed by EY across the globe. We help we help our EY staff go through the steps in terms of how they can be more aware of what is deeply satisfying to them, right? And that is something that's connected to finding out one's purpose. And second is we give them opportunities to involve themselves in projects, and that's part of the EY Badges program. So that's the second habit. Begin with the end in mind. So what is it that you're planning? What is it that you want to achieve? And this is very important because, some of us, right? We wake up in the morning. It's like, okay, it's a Monday. Ayan, it's graduation, okay? Or it's time for me to start looking for a job, right? So right there, you already have an inkling. You have something that you want to be able to achieve for the day. Some of us wake up like, wow, it's a great morning. We take our time, have that morning coffee, tea, breakfast, have that morning conversation with, our friends and family. Right? So regardless of where you fall under, whether you wake up you already know you're already planning, or you wake up you just want to enjoy the morning, both of those individuals still have things that they want to achieve in their life. And that's what we say, begin with the end in mind, right? So it's not just waking up you already know you're already planning, but even if you're taking things slowly, if you're taking your time to enjoy, you also know, or you should also be thinking, what is it that you want to achieve? And I'll be sharing the big rocks principle later, right? And then of course the third one is put first things first, and this now has to do with organizing, scheduling, prioritizing. Now again, especially I remember my time as a student, when we say, oh, prioritize, I'm very good at that. When we say scheduling, that's where I'm not so good at. Um, all throughout my college days, uh, I am a serial procrastinator, and for those of you that are procrastinators, you can also relate, right? Oftentimes, scheduling, you come up with a plan, but following the plan becomes very difficult, and that's why when I started going into the workforce, right, when I started out my career, 18 more than 18 years ago, right, I also had a very difficult time adjusting. And this is when I first got exposed to the 7 habits of highly effective people. And when I learned the very basic, time management principle, and we'll go through that in the next set of slides, that's where it really helped me, think about, what am I doing? Are the things that I'm spending time for, are they really important? Not just important for other people, but important for me personally. Okay? So, with that, when you talk about managing your time and activities, in the book, Stephen Covey talks about a very basic principle, right? So, again, some of you have seen this, some of you maybe this is the first time. So, this is your usual time management quadrant. So, you organize things as important, not important, right? So same thing. When you get into the workplace, oftentimes these are defined for you, right? Important, not important. Urgent, meaning it's needed now, or it was needed like a couple of days back. And of course, you have the not urgent ones. Now, the key principle to remember here is that each of the quadrants, there's a description for it, and I won't be going through that right now. But the important and urgent, those are things by their very nature are very difficult to uh, prepare for. Or if, again, like what I was mentioning, if you're a procrastinator, if you tend to, wait and delay, oftentimes things that are important but not urgent, which is in quadrant number two, oftentimes lapse, meaning sa sobrang tagal na hindi mo ginawa, hindi mo sinimulan, when it's now needed, you now have to rush, right? So again, maybe it gives you that, adrenaline rush. Maybe you're still able to do a great job regardless of the time constraint. But again, the key point here, when you keep doing things and when everything is important and urgent, then the possibility of you burning out, of you getting tired, stressed, getting sick even, is much higher. And that's why when we talk about, urgent and important, and not urgent but important, there's a key principle that Stephen Covey here, and I'll go to that in a little bit. Now, I'll talk a little bit about quadrants three and four. So when we talk about those that are not important but urgent, right? Like for example, in an office setting, when you do get a chance to now be in a physical setting, when somebody comes up to you, right, and then they're asking you some things, that's what's an example of something that potentially, maybe let's say they're just asking for what happened to the meeting. So again, the information isn't that important. They could get the information in others, but because they're in front of you, then it becomes urgent. But when you categorize it, that that activity, that piece of information may not be important. And that's why Stephen Covey was talking about that quadrant as being deceptive, right? So there's a lot of things like, oy, kain tayo sa labas. Oy, let's meet up. Yan. So those are examples of, urgent things that come up during your day, but maybe not important. And again, some of you can relate to things at home, Maybe you're in virtual class and then all of a sudden, right? You're somebody comes up to you, maybe your parent, maybe a relative, and they ask help. Diba? Pakibuksan naman tong lata na to or this can. I can't open it. Yan. So of course, diba? What happens is you still have to help them out because you can't just say, oh, hindi mamaya na, diba? Because what might end up happening is you don't get to eat, right? So those are things that are deceptive. Now, things that are not important, not urgent, waste and excess. There is a recommendation for Stephen Covey for that. Now, some of the things, because we spend too much time in quadrant one doing urgent and important things, we get burned out. And what Stephen Covey was saying is that what ends up happening is sometimes we go directly into quadrant four activities and we justify it by saying, ay, kasi kailangan ko mag-relax eh. I need to de-stress, decompress, right? So again, mental health is very important. Don't get me wrong. Physical health is also very important. But what maybe a lot of people, and even myself personally, was missing out on was I was just going directly to quadrant four activities and not quadrant two activities. And I'll give an example of that in the next piece, right? So, what is the to-do list, or when we talk about uh, what is the worthwhile things for us to put in? So, for example, and again, I'll direct your attention to two things, right? So take a look at quadrant number two, build them, right? And then in quadrant number four, drop them. There's one piece that is in both, right? Leisure activities, it's in quadrant two. And then there are pleasant activities in quadrant four, right? So what's the difference there? So when you know yourself, diba? And I talked about, having that sense of purpose earlier, right? One of the things that we need to remember is that we have a lot of activities, diba? Activities that we enjoy, that are satisfying or deeply satisfying. Those activities that are deeply satisfying to you na when you do them, and it could be a simple thing as drinking coffee, diba? So for some people, especially when you love coffee, diba? If you're an avid coffee drinker or tea drinker for that, it elevates that activity from quadrant 4 to quadrant 2. Why? Because if you're really passionate, if it's something that deeply satisfies you, then that's a leisure activity. It helps you de-stress, but it helps you keep yourself motivated. Versus, somebody na parang coffee, pwedeng okay lang meron, pwedeng wala. It can end up as a pleasant activity. Oh, ay, hindi ako nakainom ng coffee. Okay lang, no worries, diba? It doesn't have an impact. But somebody who coffee drinking is a leisure activity might be something that throws them off. Ay, nako, distracted ako, medyo irritable ako sa office ngayon, or, I'm going to be distracted at work, right? So in my case, personally, I love movie watching, diba? For movies, diba? And usually there's a minimum of like an hour and a half to maximum of like, extended version movies, 4 hours, right? For some people, when they watch a movie, it's a what? Pleasant activity. Oy, ang ganda naman ng movie na yun. Pero after that, they don't think about it anymore. It doesn't continuously impact them. But for people who, like myself, the movie watching, it's a leisure activity. It's something that I do when I have time, or when I put time or set time for it, right? Because it's in quadrant 2, it helps me by inspiring me, by giving me motivation, by making me think, ay, okay. So that really energized me. So it has a continuous impact for the rest of the day. So that's something to think about, right? The things that you do for de-stressing, or for decompressing, or for your mental health or physical health, which ones fall under, are just pleasant, and, pag hindi mo ginawa, okay lang. That's an example of quadrant 4. So you may want to drop them instead. And instead, 'di ba? And this is where it's important. A lot of times, 'di ba, when we go through time management courses, a lot of times they say, "Hindi, wag na 'yan yung mga hobbies. Don't put time to do that." But Stephen Covey is saying, "No, those things are also important, but you need to build them." So that's why it's not urgent, it's not due soon, but you still need to build them. You need to still put them into your calendar. So you have those, times that activities will drain you, but when you plug into your schedule activities that will energize you, that gives you energy, motivation, focus to do other things as well. So that's why. Okay. Now, here you have the choices. Do them, not important. If it's possible to delegate them, get help, get or point them out to another person. Like what the example I gave earlier, diba? A colleague comes to me asking me, "Oh, ano yung nangyari doon sa meeting?" I can delegate that by saying, I apologize. I'm working on something right now, but this person took the minutes, so I'll go ahead and send them a ping. So I'll let them know that you'll be asking the information from them. So that's an example of delegation. So the bottom line is, for you to build the right habit, what's important is that when you think about these 4 quadrants, the bulk, or try to, when you're planning, when you're mapping out your calendar, are you putting more time in terms of your build activity? So yun yung important. Yung urgent and important, some of them, you just really have to do it. There's no ifs or buts about it. Right? Kailangan gawin. But for the not urgent, when you minimize, or when you drop those leisure activities, yung mga not urgent and not important, right? And you put more time in terms of build or quadrant 2 activities. And again, relaxation, energizing, deeply satisfying activities, that's part of quadrant 2. So hindi ibig sabihin, ay, all work, no play yan. No. The harder you work, the harder you should be playing, right? So that's why quadrant 2 activities is very, very important. Okay. Now, what's the last piece that I wanted to share? Now, when you think about work, and when you get into work, oftentimes you have to be conscious about your level of experience, meaning your capability, right? And of course, you also have to take into account your motivation. What is it that you want to be able to, or how energized, how enthusiastic are you? So here, and you can take a picture of it right now. This is a quick guide on what to do. Diba? So when you're faced, diba, when you go into work, and when you're shown something that you don't know, meaning you have a low skill level in that, and maybe you're not quite sure because maybe you're doing it for the first time, ask for direction. So hindi masamang mag-ask for direction, right? So, and of course, here, as you increase in confidence, meaning mas confident ka na, sinabi na sa'yo, but maybe you're still not doing it consistently, make sure that you ask for guidance, right? And then, as you increase your skill, and yun yung ideal, di ba? You ask for delegation. High na yung skill mo, you can do it very quickly, you can do it correctly every time. You also have a high confidence level, high energy level, ask for delegation. Can you ask for additional things to help you be more skilled or maybe start on a new skill, right? Now, one thing to avoid though is when you can do it, di ba? You're very quick to do it, but then ano na it becomes boring for you, right? Dahil you've been doing it maybe for some time, so you are now going lower in terms of your motivation. Find your motivation. Maybe do a quadrant 2 activity like what I mentioned, diba? Do a leisure activity that energizes you, that gives you motivation, right? And whatever that may be, whether it's coffee, whether it's movie watching, whether it's talking with a friend or loved one, right? So that is the important piece. Okay, so I hope this is I hope this is something useful for everyone. And so we go to the last piece, right? And before we go into yung third piece, third thing, when you're planning activities, and again, the best example I can share here is go to YouTube, put in Big Rocks video, and you'll go ahead and see the video of Stephen Covey. Unfortunately, Stephen R. Covey already passed all the way back in 2012. But the video that he has there really shows, and it's a very powerful example of how planning can make a difference in our lives. So here, the basic premise is you have big rocks that represent the big things that you want in life. Family, love life, yeah, having financial security, etc. And then there's sand, which represents all of those things that we fill in our time. Diba? Yung mga small conversations, mga time fillers, etc. Right? An example of which is your pleasant activities. Things that, okay lang if you do it, but okay lang if hindi mo gawin. Now, when you put the big rocks in and then you pour the sand in afterwards, you'll be surprised that everything can potentially fit in. And that's what Stephen Covey wants us to do. Instead of us, planning our day na, okay, bahala na si Batman, right? But being proactive about it. And this is going back to those first three habits. Being proactive about it. Going into your calendar, putting time, like, maybe some of you have pets that you take care of. Oh, this is my quality time with my fur baby, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay? And then making sure that you begin with the end in mind and putting it into your calendar so that that time is already set aside. Hindi na siya masasapawan. And when people ask you, "Oy, tara, punta tayo, kain tayo," you can go ahead and go into the calendar, whether it's a paper calendar, whether it's, on your phone, you can already see there and have a reminder. And again, I am a type of person that also tends to forget at times, and that's why my calendar really is my best friend as well, because it reminds me that I know I have something that I already set as very important, right? So make sure that you learn more about the big rocks principle, and it can really make a big difference in terms of what you want to achieve, both from a personal perspective and a professional perspective. Now, what's the last step? How can you continually add value to the company? And this works on the basic principle of looking at your non-transferable and transferable skills. Now, as you go into the workplace, there are things that you'll begin to learn that are non-transferable. So these are very specific sa company, like they use this particular platform. They use this particular step 1, step 2, step 3, whatever, right? But there are things called transferable skills. And this could be as simple as project management, community building, and some of these things you may actually be already doing. Like for example, in the past few weeks, right? Ever since we exited 2021, right? We've seen a decrease, with the exception, of course, of the beginning of this year, right, where we had an increase in terms of infections. But so far, what we were seeing is the decrease of infections also resulted in an increase in terms of our mobility. We're now able to see our friends, family, yan, di ba? So yung iba sa inyo na nag-organize ng mga family gatherings inyo the past few months, right? That's an example of project management. And when you now put it in a workplace, you can say, oh, I actually help organize, and our family, maybe your family is a huge family. Maybe you have like 50 plus, members. So malaki-laki yon. But you were able to successfully organize it. That's an example of a transferable skill, whether you do it in a personal setting or whether you're now doing it in a corporate setting or in a workplace setting. The skills that you're doing, organizing, coming up with a list, sino yung magdadala ng pagkain, sino yung mag-asikaso ng venue, sino yung mag-asikaso sa mga invitations, and make sure everyone who said that they'll go will go. Those are transferable skills. And the principle there is make sure, whenever possible, increase your transferable skills, because these transferable skills, regardless of whether you're in one company, going to another company, maybe even going to a different line of work altogether, those can be transferred. And that's how you can very quickly and very effectively build those habits that will ensure your success, both in your personal life and also in your career journey. All right. So I hope that everyone enjoyed. So again, just to wrap up, we have a lot of openings in EYGDS Philippines. We do hope that take the time to take a look at it. And even if the type of work that you're looking at is not in this current openings that we have, we do encourage everyone to visit us. Visit the Jobs 180 site. This is jobs180.com/EYGDS. But also take a look at the EY career site so that you have an idea and you're aware of the different companies, industries, and more importantly, what EY has in store for everyone. So thank you so much for this time for today. I'll turn the floor over back to our Jobs 180 host. And
All right. So thank you so much, Sir Dennis. So to our audience, if you have questions, so please feel free to post your questions on the comment section, and I'm sure Dennis will try to answer all your questions. Okay. So Sir Dennis, since we are time bound, I'll
mhm,
be asking 1 to 2 questions na lang po. So while waiting for the audience questions po. So first, my question is what do you think are the factors that significantly boost someone's productivity during pandemic? Because according to surveys daw po during pandemic parang mas more productive, mas productive yung mga employees, especially those who are working from home and no children po, no. So what
mhm,
do you think are the factors po that
mhm.
significantly boost their productivity during pandemic?
All right. So thank you so much for that question. I think first off, what's very important is that, and this is an ongoing conversation with any company, diba? Whether it's a global company or a local company, is really having that sense that you are flexible, that you're empowered, right? Um, like what you mentioned, diba? The ability to be able to be flexible about work, right? In terms of like, am I going to go into the office or can I work remotely? That really provides for that sense of flexibility and that sense of empowerment. Case in point, November of last year, I had the Jobs 180 talk, and this was for the University of Bataan State Peninsula University, right? So in that day, I have two kids, right? I have a 14-year-old daughter and I have a 7-year-old son. And usually, because I am working from home some of the time, I usually am the designated parent to work and help my 7-year-old son with his grade schooling, right? So on that day, diba, I have several options. I have to help my son in the morning. I had that talk with Bataan State Peninsula University around 11 o'clock. And then, of course, in the afternoon, I was hosting senior leadership meeting between talent and also the rest of the leaders in EYGDS Philippines. So normally, diba, if we were looking at traditional working, oh, I would have had the choice. If I wanted to help my son, file a leave. If I wanted to go to yung to Bataan, then that's the only thing I'd be able to do for the day, right? Because travel time and whatnot. Or I can forego all of that and just go to the office and then host that meeting with the senior leaders. But because we were uh, allowing and we had most of these activities done virtually, I was able to fulfill all of those responsibilities. So I helped my son, get enough time for get breakfast, even go on the call for Jobs 180, right? And then in the afternoon, host that meeting. So I think that's what's going to be important eh. For all of the graduates, find out ano ba yung importante sa'yo? Ano yung pinapahalagan mo? And then when you're aware of that, when you're now scoping out these companies, you know what is it that you want to ask them. Are they on site all the time? And if so, saan yung location, right? Because again, it might be something beneficial now. Oh, the office is only 5 minutes away, so you can definitely go in and out. We've seen it even in our office setting right now. Previously, the tradition was patagalan, di ba? When you go into the office, yung boss mo hindi pa umaalis, walang alisan yan. But now we're seeing a change in the behavior. We're seeing like most of the teams that do come in into the office, they always make sure that they're vocal about it. Uy, can we wrap everything up like 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon? Para at least pag alis nila sa office, hindi pa rush hour. And that's something that, again, even the managers, even the leaders have also begun to shift and be flexible. Because again, they leave the office early, but when they get home, they can continue working. So what they do is they just broke up. Instead of yung 8 hours mo na, oh, dapat dire-diretso yan. Some teams are actually going into that, own contract or the team contract na, oh, basta ito yung kailangan mong matapos for the day. Whether you do it in the morning, whether you do it in the afternoon or in the evening, just make sure that you finish it today. Right? So I think that is what's going to help people be productive and be motivated at the same time.
Much, Sir Dennis, for answering that one. So, ngayon, malinaw na po. No? So, we have a question from the audience. From Sir Akachi Umachi. So, hello, sir. Do I need a working visa before I can apply for the job? I'm not sure if
Okay.
this
So in
is for
that particular case, if
mm,
if the person is a foreign national, we do need to abide because a lot of the openings that we have here for EYGDS Philippines are local-based positions. So that means that we need to comply with country requirements. So if you are a foreign exchange student or a student working here but have a foreign nationality, then you would definitely need to. But take note that even for universities, we do offer internships or on-the-job training. So for those that are still undergraduates, that might be something you want to explore with your OJT mentor.
all right. So thank you so much, Sir Dennis. I think no more question from the audience. So before you go backstage, sir, do you have final words, tips, advices for the graduating students po?
Mhm. So again, the tip is don't sell yourself short, but at the same time, make sure that you're also prepared and resilient. Yung sabi ko nga kanina, makunat enough kayo to put in the time, to put in the effort, to go to work, right? Whether it's on-site work, baka kasi yun lang yung currently available in your area or what fits in your current calendar or your scope, right? So make sure that you're resilient enough, kaya mong trabahuhin, 'di ba? You have the perseverance, but at the same time, don't sell yourself too short. Always be on the lookout. Yeah. Thank you so much, Joyce.
All right. So thank you so much, Sir Dennis. Thank you today for sharing your time and your knowledge. And we wish to have you on our next set of webinars. Thank you, sir. Ingat po. All right. So again, guys, if you're interested to join EY, you may submit your resume link or you may visit www.thechops180.com/EYGDS. All right. And moving on to our next topic for today, which is All right, new normal world of work. So our next presenter, Patrick Mikel or Michael Chick de Rosas, has been working with local and multinational companies in various fields. He has 2 years of experience working with one of the largest smartphone companies in the world as a bilingual partner for the research team. He also has 3 years of learners focusing on intermediate to advanced levels and has had a chance to be an online professor partner in a private university in Taiwan. He has two bachelor's degrees, a Bachelor of Arts in Asian Studies major in Korean Studies, and a Bachelor of Science in Psychology. At present, he is now part of Inspiro Incorporated as a recruiter sourcing specialist. So the sourcing specialist from Inspiro Mr. Patrick De Rosas. Sir Patrick, good morning po.
Hi, good morning, Miss Joyce. And yeah, hi everyone. Good morning. I would like to thank first University of the Cordilleras and Jobs 180 for having us here. So again, I'm Patrick from the recruitment sourcing team of Inspiro, and I'm actually going to discuss the new normal of the work environment.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
All right. So if
So
you're ready, sir, I'll leave you to it po. I'll be back after 20 minutes for the Q&A.
all
Good luck,
right.
Sir Patrick.
Sure. Thank you. All right, so yeah, again, we are going to talk about the topic of the new normal word of work. Okay, so actually, when it comes to new normal, we actually have heard a lot of the term for the past years, for the past few years. It's been there since the pandemic happened, and we actually have you know it is a way for us to live and to go with our lives in a new way, okay, because currently we're experiencing the pandemic, so that's why we're going to really have what we call the new normal. Well, actually, our topic for today is a very broad topic. We have a lot of things that we could talk about when it comes to the new normal, but we're going to focus more on what is the most common changes you'll about to see when it comes to your experience and in terms of working under the new normal. But first, let's begin with discussing about who and what we are, and we're going to learn more first about Inspiro. Okay, so established in 2003, Inspiro Relaya Incorporated is actually a leading BPO service company operating over 51 centers in all over Asia, North America, and Latin America, with approximately 32,000 employees providing customer support services. We started out as Parlance, EPLDT Ventus, SPI CRM, and we are now Inspiro. So we're actually under the under the Relaya group of companies, and Relaya is an international BPO and contact service provider based in Japan. Now, why they acquired us? It's actually because they wanted to expand and to bring in more opportunities here in the Philippines. Now, at Inspiro, we actually played, a big role when it comes to making our country a destination of choice for global outsourcing. And we are loud and proud to tell you that. We actually have a network again of 32,000 customer champions across our delivery centers. And of course, here are our delivery centers. So we have the United States, Nicaragua, Romania, Japan, and rest of Asia. And here in the Philippines, we have our centers here at Makati City, Mandaluyong City, Pasig City, Quezon City. And for our regional offices, we have Dumaguete and in Iloilo. Now, to continue our discussion when it comes to the new normal, um, let's start with the way people find jobs nowadays. Okay. To be honest, when it comes to looking for a job, it's really challenging for many of us. Why? Because again, we're still under the pandemic. Okay. When it comes to the new normal, we're really shifting from the traditional one to the digital platforms and others. When it comes to seeking for a job, if you are not um, able to go online and others, it will be difficult for you to look for a job. And of course, let's not forget that a lot of companies and even industries really struggled a lot when it comes to the pandemic and the current situation. A lot of us are affected by the pandemic, and lots of people lost their job. Now, I'm going to share you some of the applications that we're going to focus when it comes to the new normal. So let's begin with what we call the branding. So we normally see ads, before the pandemic from companies on billboards, public transportations, for example, jeepney top ads, the ones that you see at the top of the jeepneys. We also have ads on bus, LRT, and MRTs, billboards everywhere. But when the pandemic happened, that has changed. And now companies tend to rely online or virtual branding nowadays. Like what I mentioned earlier, we're slowly shifting from the traditional one to what we call the digital platforms. Okay, so companies are actually using that as an advantage for them to have a lot of applicants and to gain more support from the public. Okay, since the pandemic happened, we're always on our social medias and others. So from time to time, you could see various ads on social medias. And of course, the companies would like to use that advantage for us to have more target audiences. And of course, when we say branding, the companies are like trying to provide or trying to take care to provide this as try to look at it as one of their products. Other companies, they're going to partner with social media partners. They're going to have influencers and others, so they're really going to find ways on how they are going to reach more targets. Okay, sorry, one moment. Okay, next, let me share my screen again. All right. Next is, of course, since we're still on the pandemic, we no more have offsite events. So offsite events are job fairs, school fairs, job caravans. Now, these are the events that people gather in one place to look for jobs. It's actually a bigger chance for applicants to land one just because there are too many opportunities. But we don't do this kind of events anymore, or not yet, in this time of the new normal one. Okay, so what we're going to do, or what we're doing, since we're now on the digital age, so we're really doing the online events like what we have now. Okay, we have online job fairs from time to time. We're using different platforms to reach out to our potential employees and potential applicants and candidates. So instead of focusing on the offsite events, but because we cannot do it because we're still under the pandemic, we're going to take advantage of our digital platforms. Next. Yeah, like what I mentioned, we have what we call the digital platforms. Now, the majority of companies don't process or assess candidates in their respective offices. Some are already accepting walk-in applicants or on-site applicants, but they're still prioritizing digital platforms. So if you're a fan of walk-in applicants, you might need to step up your digital profile. Okay, so you need to update or try to check if you have an updated resume. So try to update your resume search for job openings online. For example, your job profile here at Jobs 180. Okay, for example, here at Inspiro, our priority is still the digital platforms. Okay, so we're going to learn more about our hiring process in a few, just to have an idea on how we are going to have the digital hiring process that we have. This actually applies to majority of the companies out there. They might have some different steps and others, but still, that is how, to give you an idea of how the digital platform works. In connection with applying and assessing our candidates, we have the interview and qualifications. Now, the interviews, just like I mentioned, most companies don't require their candidates to go to the office for an interview. So, of course, get ready for an interview, you know, virtually. We're going to have what we call the virtual screening. So you may also be surprised if the employer asks questions such as, do you have a wired internet connection? May I know how fast is your internet? Okay. Do you have a good and quiet working environment? Do you have a personal laptop or a desktop? Because of course, in this new normal, we are actually offering different two types of work setup. Of course, one the work from home and one on-site account. So if you're going to be on the work from home part, you really have to meet the minimum qualifications of your employer. Okay. So you have to check first if you're going to reach those, because you might waste your time because you already know that, what they're looking for, but it's really what you do not have. Okay. So be prepared, because we have work from home setups now and even work on site. So we have more qualifications like the device specifications, your internet speed, the quality of your microphone, and others. So those are some of our additional qualifications that the interviewer might ask. All right. So, like what I mentioned earlier, I'm going to share our hiring process. This is an example of our online hiring process, or our virtual hiring process. Here at Inspiro, we actually have, or we make sure that we are going to do it one day virtual process. So we're going to start off with what we call the initial screening. So once we receive your resume, we're going to, of course, check it. We're going to check your commitment. We're going to, check the salary, the shift, bearing communication problems. Once we receive your application, this is the time where we are going to try and reach out to you via phone calls. This is what we call our initial interview. Okay. So once we receive your applications, please expect a call from us within the week, because we are going to try and reach out to you for your initial interview. We're going to talk more about your qualifications. We want to know more about you if you're fitted with our current openings. And once you are fitted with our current openings, then you're going to proceed with the assessments. We're actually going to ask our candidates, to always keep their lines open and check their emails from time to time, because our talent acquisition team will reach them as soon as possible. Now, what you're going to expect with the assessments, you're going to proceed with our typing test. So that is speed and accuracy. You might need to have your own laptop or a desktop, because for the typing test, you cannot do that on your mobile phone. So normally, if the applicant or the candidate doesn't have his or her own working desktop, then we're going to ask them to try and visit a computer shop nearby, as long as they can really finish the typing test. And of course, we have the competency inventory, like aptitude, customer service, and digital literacy. We're going to check your knowledge when it comes to the common things that we need when it comes to the specific account. And of course, we're going to have the role play assessment. This is what we call our voice assessment, where someone will pretend to be the customer, of course, and then you're going to have what we call the mock call. So we're going to have like an assessment. We're going to pretend that we're going to have a real live call, and we're going to check your skills and abilities on how you're going to handle our mock call. And once you pass our assessments, you're going to proceed with the final interview. So we're going to have the targeted selection interview. We're going to measure your adaptability and stress. We're not going to sugarcoat anything. If you're going, or if you're planning to be part of the BPO industry, you're always going to work under pressure and under stress. So we're going to test if you're qualified, and you can handle the specific stress that the company could have, because we are going to avoid losing our applicants and our employees in the near future. So we're going to check if you're suited for this role. Of course, we're going to check your tolerance as well, quality standards, and of course your motivational fit, if you're really fit when it comes to this role. After the final interview, if time permits, you're going to have the job offer and what we call the pre-hiring stage. Okay. So for the job offer, this is where we're going to, present you our contract. Most of our accounts do it virtually. Okay. But we have a specific account that we're going to do that on site, because we want to check their commitments as well. Okay. And then after that, you're going to have the contract signing, discussion of the requirements. So you're getting to know more about what you need to submit before you begin our journey, or your journey with Inspiro. And of course, you're going to have the touch base with the training and operations. This is what we call the pre-hiring stage. We are going to meet some of our members, and we are going to discuss about the employee overview, what you're going to expect with the company, and so on. Now, this is a very crucial part, because everyone needs to attend the pre hiring stage, because after that, you're going to proceed with what we call the onboarding. Now, with regards to onboarding, this is where we proceed with the new employee orientation, and after the orientation, you're going to be officially endorsed to the training. Whether it is on site or work from home, you are going to have this five process that we have. If you're going to have the work from home setup, of course, the onboarding and the training will be done virtually. We could use Microsoft Teams or Google Meet application. But if you're going to have the work on site, then we're going to conduct it on our training rooms and others. So that's our hiring process for the first three steps. Until the fourth one, we're really trying our best to finish this in a 1 day process and then proceed with the onboarding part. All right. So now, let's talk more about the work environment. So this is where, you are actually going to expect or what you're going to see when it comes to coming to work. Now, we have what we call the on-site, the safety and security. Now, this time we are actually inside the company. For example, this is a work on-site. So, of course, no masks, no entry. That's the first rule. We have alcohol stations everywhere and food baths, for us to be disinfected from time to time. We also have the temperature check. Most of the companies, they will always have the temperature check machine in front of their entrance so that they could monitor everyone who is entering the premises of the company. We have the daily health symptoms questionnaire. They're going to ask you personal questions. They're really going to check if you're fit to work that day. Okay. Because what we want to avoid is further, infection of the virus. Okay, of course, we observe social distancing still because we're still in the pandemic. So 1 to 3 meters just whenever you need to speak with your friends or anyone in the office. Always make sure to speak at the distance. Now, when it regards to the workstation, still it's 1 seat apart. You'll you'll see a lot of X marks every time when you visit the company premises. Some of the chairs, dividers, others are they have plastic extender dividers and others, but somehow the restrictions are getting better, so you might see less. Okay, but still, we're still practicing the 1 sit apart and social distancing part. Of course, this is very important. Office disinfection. So from time to time, there is actually a personnel who are in charge of cleaning or disinfecting all the work areas before shift, after the shift, and even during the shift. Limited person allowed inside in enclosed spaces. Still, we still practice this because we don't want further infections. So once we reach the limit of a certain or specific place, all we have to do is wait and fall in line and wait for our turn. Next, like what I mentioned earlier, we have the work from home. So this is the work arrangement that is currently a thing. Okay, and it is what we call the new normal when it comes to the work environment. What you really need to check on your end if you're going to have the work from home is most importantly the equipment. Other companies are not going to provide your person or your company equipment. So if they don't, you should have your own equipment that again should meet their minimum requirements. Internet connection, of course, it's a must. You should also check, the company's minimum requirements when it comes to the internet connection, so that the company could avoid damages when it comes to the workload. So you have to check the internet speed as well. Other companies are providing as much as 100 Mbps as their requirements. So for you to be able to continue working from home, you really have to upgrade and to rely on those certain requirements for the internet connection. Of course, what's really important is for you to have your own workspace. I do understand that, working from home is really difficult because you're going to consume a specific part of your house. You may not have a specific, place for you to work with, but it's really important for you to have one. Why? Because we need to at least separate work from your life. That's an example of us, trying to have work-life balance, especially when it comes to working from home. Based on my experience, I experienced that when during the peak of the pandemic, it's really hard for me to separate work and life balance because I'm working at the same time I have my bed beside me. It's really difficult to separate the environment. But it's really important. I found the importance of having your own workspace because, after work, you're going to avoid seeing that workplace. So after work, you're just going to focus on your personal activities and others. So having a comfortable work for you to work is really an important one. All right. Now let's talk more about the new work norm. We have what we call the productivity. Now, since the work arrangement is now different, so you're going to expect your company will measure your productivity in a different way, especially if you're going to work from home. Before you have all the time to finish something, but your prod can be recorded per hour. Now we have like a tracker, okay, that will monitor you since you are being managed remotely, especially for work from home. Your managers and supervisors cannot really see you from time to time. We don't know what you're really doing during your work hours. So others, they have their own trackers, they have their own system where they would know if the employee is still doing their work or not. Okay, that's the difference with regards to the productivity. We're being monitored heavily these days. Now, meetings, huddles, and announcements from face to face, we're now shifting to virtual. You're going to use more like Zoom, Microsoft Meetings, or Teams, Google Meet, and others instead of having the face to face meeting. From time to time, if it's really important and it requires a personal and face to face interaction with regards to the team, then they're going to ask us to report on site. But if it could be done virtually, then we're going to use that advantage. Working hours. So you may not be required to do overtime more often because this is what we call the new normal. Okay. Again, going back to the productivity before, we actually have, the time, all the time on our hands. If we want to finish, if we want to do overtime and others. Now, for working hours during the new normal, sometimes we have to seek for permission when it comes to our overtimes. We need to validate or to give assurance that we're going to work during those overtimes that we are going to ask for them. Okay, because it's very crucial for companies as well. Because of course, productivity is what we want, what the companies want. So if you're going to have your extended working hours, you really need to seek for approval. All right. Next, we have the training and seminars. So instead of face to face, it will be done virtually. Now, make sure to have, of course, a strong internet connection so you won't miss a thing. Because training and seminars, when it comes to work environment, is very important for us to learn more knowledge and information with regards to the campaign or the specific campaign that we're going to handle. And next, of course, the events. I kind of miss, the face-to-face events. Slowly, we are trying to bring back those face-to-face events slowly, but still, we have that limited number of participants. But of course, for example, town halls, award recognitions, if it could be done virtually still, we're still going to do those. But for example, like rebranding, pageants, Christmas parties, and others, since we have better restrictions these days, slowly the companies are trying to bring back those events. It's kind of really exciting for us to experience face-to-face events. So hopefully, by within the next couple of months until the Christmas season, we're going to experience the on-site and face-to-face Christmas party after so many years of having this pandemic. All right. So yeah, just to add more, of course, when it comes to working from home, when it comes to the new normal setup, of course, you have to consider as well your time and effort as well because it's really tiring to work in this kind of setup. To be honest, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. It's more tiring to work from home than working on site based on my personal experience. Now, you really have to, check yourself as well if what you really need and what you really can do. Okay, because what matters most is your productivity. Okay, so that is some of the examples on the most common changes that we have for the new work setup. Right. So thank you guys for listening. I'll be calling now the speakers. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, so apologies. Thank you so much, Sir Patrick, for discussing new normal world and environment, work environment. So to our audience, if you have questions regarding the topic, please feel free to post your questions on the comment section. So two speakers left na lang you see. So if you have questions, please wag po kayong mahiyang magtanong, put your questions on the comment section and our speakers will try to answer all your questions. Okay. So since time bound also, Sir Pat, I'll be asking 1 to 2 questions also. Ayan. So, first is ways to lead your team into the new normal that don't involve usually virtual meetings po.
Yeah. Well, actually, like what I mentioned, medyo bumabalik na tayo sa mga normal restrictions, 'di ba? We have on-site events na rin and others. So, personally for my team, we have this Friday thing. So, parang every Friday we're trying our best, to be on-site together para din magkita-kita and then to bond together as a team. So if the company permits everyone to be on site, then let's take that as an opportunity for us to gather. But if really, the company, we have to really follow the company requirements as well. Other companies, they're really going to have a strict policy. Bawal tayo mag on-site and others focus lang tayo sa virtual events. So we have to, maximize the events. Kasi marami na tayong mga breakout rooms pagdating sa sa mga platforms ngayon eh. So instead of having like a boring Google Meet session, why not you use those opportunities for us to bond more, okay? Because we really have to consider yung requirements din ng company. So let's not be limited when it comes to having that kind of opportunities. Grab lang kung ano yung pwede nating mag-grab. If wala talaga, then let's maximize all of the possibilities that we can do. Marami din kasi tayong magagawa virtually.
All right, thank you so much, sir. And another question is, what are the strategies to help employees thrive in the new normal? Because I believe there are employees who are having a hard time po, coping with the new normal work setup.
Actually, yeah. Based on our experience as well, for our company, we actually provide support when it comes to, like, for example, teleconsultation and others, because we really care for the mental health of our employees. Mental health is really a struggle when it comes to this pandemic. So by doing those, we're going to make sure, or we can assure that they're really fit to work. 'Di ba? I-check natin sila from time to time. If they need help, they could reach out with the help of the company as well, provided na, alam mo yun, nagbibigay ng help din yung company. At the same time, nagbibigay ng assurance yung company na kahit anong mangyari, maiintindihan namin yung situation mo. 'Di ba? Currently, medyo mahirap yung transportation natin, gawa ng pagtaas ng pamasahe at ng fuel and such. So, for companies and employers out there, once na nagsabi si employee na parang medyo mahirapan po ako, kung kaya naman din mag-work from home and others, then we're going to have a specific agreement na labas dun sa contract, or magpo-produce kami ng bagong contract like for the specific person. Sige, work from home ka muna as long as marireach mo yung ibibigay naming target for you. So magkakaroon tayo ng maraming ways para magkaroon tayo ng mutual understanding, because give and take yung mangyayari dito eh. Alagaan namin kayo, at the same time magbibigay kayo ng profit sa company. That's what's important here.
All right, so thank you so much, Sir Patrick. Your final words na lang po before you go backstage sa ating graduating students.
All right. So yeah, for all those graduating students, of course, to begin with, I want to congratulate everyone because it's been a really tough journey for you. You're about to enter work the work environment in a few days, weeks, or months from now. What I really want you to do is to really enjoy what you're going to have. Grow as much as you want, because this will be a fun yet fulfilling experience for everyone. It's really not um a rainbow journey for everyone. May mga rough patches tayo, pero make sure na gamitin natin 'yon para ano, para mag-improve, and of course try to adapt pa rin sa new normal world natin sa work environment these days. So yeah, that's it from me. Again, I would like to thank Jobs 180, and again congratulations to the graduating class of University of the Cordilleras. Thank you so much.
All right. So thank you so much, Sir Patrick. Thank you for joining us today. We wish to have you on our next set of webinars. Ingat po. All right. So moving on to our last topic for today and speaker. So our last presenter is a graduate of a Bachelor of Science degree in Foreign Service in Lyceum of the Philippines. Miss Ems is a premier level financial consultant while currently managing a 28 financial consultants. She has been consistently recognized for her excellent work as a top financial consultant with award as an Early Achievers Club member, Senior Achievers Club member, National Achievers Club, and Quality Circle and Life Club Pro. The unit manager from Pure Life UK Crown Summit Life Insurance Agency, Miss Emelita Geronimo, CIQ. Good morning, Miss Ems.
Hi, good morning, Miss Joyce, and
Good
good
morning.
morning, University of Cordilleras. Ayan.
Right, can we now test your share screen, Miss Ems? Po?
Yes, share. Wait lang ha. Ito.
Or is it our team po who will share
Ito
later?
na. Ito na
Okay.
siya. Actually, sa
Po.
slides ko
So,
siya.
okay, ma'am. So, if you're ready, I'll leave it to it po. I'll be back after 20 minutes po for the Q&A. Good luck, Miss
Okay. Thank you. Hello. Hi. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, University of the Cordilleras. Ayan. So, once again, I'm M. Geronimo, and I'm here to share with you the road to financial wellness. Ayan. Okay, so right now we're going to talk about how you can save now for your future self. Okay, but first of all, let's talk about what is financial wellness. Ano nga ba ang financial wellness? Ayan. So sabi dito, no, financial health check lang tayo. A financially healthy individual is someone who meets his financial obligations on time. Yung mga bills natin, loans, etc. Ayan, nami-meet natin siya on time. And then we have funds to address emergencies like sickness, accident, and hospitalizations. And also, we have funds to realize din naman yung mga future dreams natin. Okay? Bakit natin kailangang maging financially healthy? Kasi death is inevitable. Okay? So, hindi natin siya pwedeng iwasan. Right? So, 30 to 50% daw ng deaths in the Philippines occurred before 60 years of age. So, yung death natin, no, hindi talaga natin siya pwedeng schedule. Ayan, si Lord lang talaga nakakaalam kung kailan niya tayo susunduin. Okay, and according to survey, ayan, ng ating census, ayan, department, ayan, so sabi dito, 30 to 50% of deaths in the Philippines nag-occur siya before 60 years of age, especially now na nasa pandemic stage pa rin naman tayo. Okay, so yung mga naapektuhan ng pandemic, mga accidents, yun yung mga hindi natin talaga naiiwasan. And also, kaya kailangan pa rin natin maging financially healthy kasi critical illness can happen to anyone. Ayan, critical illnesses account for 54% of all deaths in the Philippines. Okay, so 54%. So hindi tayo kumbaga, hindi tayo agad kukunin ni Lord. Pwedeng magkaroon muna tayo ng critical illness. Okay, this is I'm telling you these facts not to scare you but for us to prepare in the future. Diba? Kasi isipin mo, what if? Especially doon sa mga may mga history, 'di ba? Sa family background ng mga sakit. So kailangan talaga we need to be prepared. Isang reason pa, 'di ba, why we need to be financially healthy because of inflation. As we all know, no, last June, ito yung pinaka-highest na na-record sa atin na inflation rate. Diba? So nasa 6.20%. Parang nalampasan niya yung natin na 5% na inflation rate. So, kasi in the future, di ba, yung 1 million mo today is still 1 million in the future, pero mas konti na at mas maliit na yung value niya. Same 1 million, pero magkaiba na. Iba na yung mabibili mo sa 1 million mo in the future than sa mabibili mo sa 1 million mo today. Okay, and eto, di ba, pakita lang din natin, ano ba yung effect ng inflation talaga sa atin. So, we have here, for the purpose lang din naman, no, ng pag-ano ng inflation, pag-compare ng inflation nung 1997 versus 2022. Okay, so si Sarah G, di ba, since model siya ni Jollibee, ayan. So, noong 1997, yung one piece chicken joy only cost 39 pesos. So sa 500 pesos ni Sarah, ang saya-saya niya kasi ang dami niyang nabiling chicken joy, di ba? Ilang sets yan? 12 na sets ng chicken joy. Okay? Pero pansinin niyo guys, pagdating ng 2022, malungkot na siya, naiiyak na siya. Kasi 99 pesos na yung one piece chicken joy ngayon. So sa 500 pesos niya, 5 sets na rin yung mabibili niya compared to 12 sets noong 1997. That's how inflation works. So, ito lang yung simpleng, di ba, comparison ng inflation rate noong 1997 and 2022. Okay, so, ganun po siya. So, 20 years from now, ganun na lang yung natin. Magkano na kaya ang chicken joy? Ayan, di ba? That's the reason why we need to be financially prepared. So, question ko ngayon sa inyo, guys, how financially healthy are we? Okay, so para masagot natin yan, ito dapat yung i-check natin. Ano yung present fixed expenses natin? Food, syempre, kailangan natin yan, food. You need food to survive. Alam natin yan lahat. Okay? Utilities, diba? May mga utilities tayo na kailangan nating bayaran. Rent, kung nagre-rent tayo ng mga natin, mga bahay, ayan, kung hindi naman swerte, diba? Pero still, magta-transportation tayo, communication, like yung mga load natin, di ba, internet natin, education. Ito, may pandemic man o wala, kailangan natin to. Di ba? Mga anak natin, or mga siblings, ayan, kailangan nilang mag-aral. Leisure, syempre hindi mo pwedeng puro lang tayo, di ba, puro work, tapos di naman natin i-reward yung sarili natin. So may leisure din tayo. And then kung may insurance premiums kayo, kasama yan sa fixed expenses mo. Well, I would not really say na siya expense kasi it's a saving for you. Savings mo yan for your future self and others pa. So, ang question ko sa inyo, yung mga expenses ba na nakasulat dito ngayon or naka-indicate dito ngayon, kay siya, need ba talaga siya or gusto mo lang? So, we have to differentiate kung ano talaga yung need natin versus dun sa want lang natin. Right? Kasi kapag need yan, talagang kailangan yan. Kailangan talaga natin yan, pag-save, di ba? Kailangan natin talaga mag-save for that. Pero kung want lang, pwede ba natin i-postpone yan? Mga ganon. To give way dun sa mga needs natin. Okay, number 2 question. Are you able to save? Ayan, nakakapag-save pa ba tayo? Diba? So, where do you put your savings? Just in case naman, nakakapag-save tayo, di ba? So, meron ka bang bank savings as of now? Meron kang time deposit or mutual funds kaya, UITF. Ayan, ito yung mga sinasabi nilang mga VUL, yan, variable unit link. Ayan. Tapos, stocks trading. Nag-invest ka ba sa stocks? How about sa property? Ano yung mga lupa, di ba? Mga bahay, farm, ganyan. And then business, nag-invest ka ba sa business? May business ka ba ngayon? Cooperative, we all know what cooperative is. Ito yung mga tinatawag lang co-op, diba? Ito yung mga investment linked insurance, meron ka ba niyan? And others. Okay, so kapag sa mga naka-indicate dito, kapag wala ka pa dyan kahit isa, ibig sabihin, hindi ka pa rin financially healthy. Okay. And in number 3 naman, okay, when we are in addressing emergencies, if the following happened to you today, how sufficient is your current savings to support your finances? Kung ma-diagnose tayo ng critical illness today, meron ka bang at least 1 million or hanggang 5 million na saving? So, kanto ko lang na mabilis, guys. No? We have a friend here na nagkaroon siya ng cancer. Wala siyang alam, okay? Wala siyang nararamdaman, okay? Basta nakapalang niya somewhere dun sa breast niya. And then, nung nagpa-check siya, hindi siya makapaniwala kasi stage 3 na agad after niya ipabiopsy. So, wala siyang kaalam-alam, wala siyang nararamdaman kasi breast cancer is the hardest to detect. At napakabata pa niya, 37 lang siya. Stage 3 agad. So, nakakalungkot, diba? So, if that happened to us today, Ayan. Meron ba tayong pera na pwede nating magamit para sa chemo therapy? For example, cancer yan. Kung heart attack, kung stroke. And so we have to consider those factors as well. If you got disabled and couldn't work, meron ba tayong money na magagamit para magpagamot sa disability natin? Ayan, di ba? Kasi pag na-disable tayo, kailangan at least 10 times your annual income. Considering na parang 10 years hindi ka makaka-work, at least yung family mo and yourself also will not suffer. Kasi wala kang makukuhang di ba? Wala kang nang sweldo kapag na-disable ka, especially if you're a breadwinner. So, kailangan merong tayong money for that emergency. Para yung family nga natin, hindi mag-suffer, yung mga loved ones natin, and you yourself also, para makakakuha tayo ng magandang treatment. And eventually, gagaling tayo, di ba? If for example din, na force tayo na mag-retire early, kailangan din at least may 10 times tayo ng annual income. So for example, 300,000 yung annual income, you should have at least 3 million na nakasave para magamit mo for that. Okay? Number 4, syempre may mga future dreams tayo. Lahat naman tayo may mga dreams, di ba? Especially yung mga new graduates natin, mga fresh graduates, di ba? Yan, ng University of Cordilleras. Bakit ba tayo nag-aral? Syempre may mga dreams tayo, may mga pangarap tayo, hindi lang for ourselves, but for our loved ones. So sa mga pangarap na yun, di ba? Nakapag-start na ba tayong mag-save? Para sa dream house natin, dream car, dream vacation. Right? Dun sa mga married naman or mga parents naman na, 'di ba? Meron na ba tayong na save for our child's college tuition fund? So we also have to consider that factor considering na every year, 'di ba? Tumataas po yung tuition fee. So kailangan talaga natin pag-ipunan 'yan para hindi tayo mahirapan in the future. Yan. And of course, yung ideal retirement fund natin, lahat naman tayo pupunta dun sa part na 'yon na magre-retire tayo. Okay, so pagdating nung time na magre-retire tayo, ano na ba yung gusto nating mangyari? Gusto ba natin to travel around the world, travel around the Philippines? Gusto ba natin matayo na lang ng business? But syempre, yung 20 years of hard work, if you're, or 40 years, if you start working at 20, and then another 40 years bago tayo mag-retire ng 60, di ba? Meron na ba tayong na-save for our retirement? Or kailangan na natin mag-start mag-save for our retirement. Kasi yung 40 years na working natin, kailangan bigyan din naman natin na reward yung sarili natin pag nag-retire. Alangan na mag-61 na tayo, nag-work pa rin tayo. So here's how we can help you. Okay? Kasi meron kaming savings, protection, and investment program. Okay? We have an integrated financial planning. Sabi dito, how to have one's cake and eat it. Ayan. So we have what we call a ProLink Protection Fund. Ayan, meron tayo na life insurance and investment planning. Okay, so here if something happens to you, ayan, death, disability, or disablement or illness. Okay, ito yung tinatawag natin life insurance planning. Okay, so may medical expense yan, extra fund, diba, para ma-maintain natin yung standard of living natin. May pera tayo. Okay? If nothing happens naman to us, siyempre kamag-anak natin yung mga superheroes, no? Ayan. So, healthy tayo. Meron naman tayong investment planning na tinatawag. Okay? So, meron siyang cash accumulation. Para magamit natin yung money for our specific life goals. Sabi ko nga kanina, yung mga dreams natin, di ba? Dream car, dream vacation, and tapos, meron na rin siya for retirement. So, flexi fund siya. You can use your money saan mo siya gustong gastusin. Ayan. So, because ProLink meets both your protection and investment needs. Yun po yung ina-offer namin. Okay, so just to show you, ito po yung kina-cover nating critical illnesses. We call it life care benefit. We cover 36 critical illnesses, including the big 3, which is heart attack, stroke, and cancer. And ito din po yung iba pa namin kina-cover na critical illness. And then we also have the total and permanent disability. Ayan. Up to age 70 naman po siya. Pag na-disable po tayo, Merong ibibigay na money sa atin yung company for us to be able na to get the treatment that we want. Ayan. Kasi with other companies, no, flex ko lang, ayan. So we're the only insurance company, okay, here in the Philippines that provides liquid cash for total and permanent disabilities. Iba po kasi talagang waiver lang. Ibig sabihin, pag na-disable ka, hindi ka na lang magbabayad ng policy mo. Pero wala siyang ibibigay na cash sa'yo. Here in our company, meron kami binibigay na liquid cash para you can still continue with the treatment that you need para gumaling ka. Diba? Aside from the waiver na hindi ka na rin magbabayad. Yeah. And then we also have accidental death and dismemberment. Ito yung mga makukuha natin just in case ito yung mangyari sa atin. So, loss of life, 100% nung insured amount mo, makukuha mo. Ayan, so, and so on and so forth. Tapos, saan naman natin ini-invest yung equity portion nung sinisave mong money para sa premium? Okay? So, we have the blue chip stocks. We have Jollibee. Ay, makikita nyo naman po, syempre, ilalagay natin yung pera mo doon sa mga company na alam na talaga natin na kumikita. Mga solid, may solid business franchise, strong brand equity, ayan, may transparency, and then syempre yung good track record of profitability and revenues. So then po natin ini-invest yung money nyo to continue growing your money. Ayan. So, with PruLink Insurance and Investment Plan, meron siyang guaranteed protection and investment for growth, just like what I showed you a while ago. Okay, so just to show you a sample computation for a 30-year-old, so comparison lang po ito between savings in a bank and savings or putting your savings with us. So kapag sa bank, magsisave ka ng 5,000 pesos per month, that's 60,000 a year. Kasi kung religiously nagsisave ka sa bank mo no, ng 5,000 a month. Ayan. Tapos, na-diagnose ka ng critical illness after a year, syempre kukunin mo yung money. Kasi gagamitin mo siya eh. You have to buy medicine, kailangan mo magpagamot, magpa-check up. Ayan. So, magsi-zero balance yan. Here naman, with PruLife UK, if you save 5,000 pesos per month, that's also 60,000 a year. But then again, yung difference, once you get diagnosed with a critical illness, anytime, meron kang guaranteed protection of 2 million emergency fund. Okay, that's for the critical illness part. Available immediately po yan. Okay, so once na maano natin, ma-rule out naman or ma-diagnose tayo with critical illness, ma-provide natin yung mga documents needed, ayan, bibigyan na po nila ng company yung pera. And this in case lang po, ayan, knock on wood, sunduin tayo ni Lord, namimiss na niya tayo. Ayan, meron pang additional 3 million death benefit for our family and loved ones na may iwan sa kanila. Siyempre, hindi naman madali talaga para sa atin. Emotional, distress yun, di ba? So, but then again, di ba, kung meron tayong may iwan for our family, mas gagaan. Kasi especially, kung ikaw yung breadwinner, tapos paano na tayo ngayon? Wala na si Ems, iniwan na tayo, ganyan. So, at least, di ba, may naiiwan sa kanila. Meron guarantee, especially kung may mga nag-aaral pa, diba? May umaasa talaga sa'yo, meron may iwan for them na money para they can continue to live on with their life. Sabi ko nga kasi kanina, hindi natin pwedeng iwasan yung death. It can happen to all of us. Okay, so kung hindi naman po tayo agad sunduin ni Lord and then makapag-retire tayo, di ba, at 60 years old, and meron din tayo makukuha retirement fund. Kung hindi natin magamit yung education fund. So for example, di ba, yun nga sabi ko kanina, kamag-anak natin superhero, hindi naman tayo nagkasakit, meron tayong available na education fund na pwede nating magamit. Scholar yung anak mo. So, hindi mo siya, hindi ka nagbayad ng tuition. So, ngayon, meron kang may enjoy na retirement fund na 5.5 million. This is computed on a 10% lang po na kita sa stocks. Okay, kasi yun lang po yung allowed sa amin, insurance commission na 8%. But during the pandemic, it went up to 23% yung kita natin sa investment. Ayan. So, who we are PruLife UK. Yan, pakilala ko lang siya ng mabilis. It's a subsidiary of financial giant Prudential PLC and established in 1848 sa London. Ayan. So, meron po tayong 363 billion pounds in funds under management. And we're also an international financial services company with significant operations sa Asia, sa US, and the UK. So, kasama rin po tayo sa top 2,000. So, we're ranked 112. Ayan, with $62.2 billion in market capital. Ayan po yung iba nating mga kasama sa insurance industry. And we are also the first life insurance company here in the Philippines na nag-introduce ng investment and insurance products or what we call VUL. So, nag-establish po tayo here in the Philippines noong 1996 and we have the largest agency force. We also have the award-winning fund manager na siya nga po yung nagmamanage ng mga ating mga funds under management. So, meron po nagmamanage ng ating mga money. Ayan. And we're also very proud to announce that we are the #1 insurance company in the Philippines last 2020 and 2021. So, kailangan po talaga ma-maintain namin yan this 2022. And po yung aming president, okay? Si Mr. Eng Teng Wong. Congratulating True Life UK Philippines for being the #1 insurance company in the Philippines. Ayan, ito po yung ating fund manager. You can search for Spring Investment. This fund manager is based in Singapore. So sila po yung nagmamanage nga ng funds natin. So sobrang galing yan, ang dami niyang awards. And chika ko na rin sa inyo, yung sa sobrang galing niya, si Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, siya rin yung nagmamanage ng mga retirement fund nila. Ayan. And we are the top 1 branch of True Life UK in the Philippines. And we are your financial advisor. Our job is to help you identify your financial goals and recommend solutions to help you reach them. Ayan. So how saving early can benefit you? Kapag maaga po tayong nag-start mag-save, of course, mas marami din yung ating benefit na makukuha. This is a comparison between 30, 40, and 50-year-old when they started their insurance. Ayan. So monthly savings of 5,000, same lang sila, total investment 600,000 in 10 years. Ayan. Pero nag-retire sila at the age of 60, si 30 years old, yung may pinakamalaking nakuha. Bakit? Kasi mas marami siyang taon na nag-ipon. Diba? Compared dito kay 40 years old na 20 years na lang siya nakapag-ipon and 50 years old na 10 years na lang. Okay? So, ganun po tayo nagbe-benefit pag mas maaga tayong nagsisave. Ayan. And changing your behavior is the only real way to fix your money problems. Marami kasi magsasabi, gusto ko yan pero hindi ko kaya. Gusto ko yan pero wala pa akong pera. Okay? Kasi nabibigyan natin ng budget, 'di ba? Yung iba nating wants. Ayan, so tapos yung needs natin. Siguro kailangan lang nating i-change yung behavior natin. Kung paano natin i-manage yung money natin para ma-fix natin. Kasi kung ngayon pa lang, wala kang pera, sabi nga, hindi mo afford magkasakit, hindi mo rin afford mamatay kasi wala kang maiiwan sa family mo. They will be the one to suffer in the future. How much can you set aside monthly for your financial goals? So it's time to recompute kung magkano ba talaga yung pwede nating i-set aside for our financial goals. It doesn't have to be big. Kailangan yung kaya lang talaga natin siyang masustain. Para at least, di ba, alam naman natin, in the future, meron talaga tayong pera for our future self. Ayan. So, securing your financial future, we at True Life UK always listens and always understands. Okay, and eto na lang po, share ko din sa inyo, we also have a career opportunity. Ayan, so we offer a twofold opportunity. So, what will I be doing? Ano ba yung gagawin natin? Okay, number 1 is to lead and next is to educate. It's a twofold opportunity talaga. Okay, so ano gagawin natin? We are in the business of taking the risks out of people's lives. So, isi-share natin sa kanila yung financial education din. Okay, so share ko sa inyo yung mga claims namin noong 2021. Ayan. So, we're able to provide claims for death and critical illness. So, as you can see, we were able to provide 722 million in total benefit and then sa critical illness naman 234 million. So, ganun po karami yung nagkasakit talaga. Nagkaroon ng critical illness and ito nga po yung na-provide nating benefits sa kanila. Okay, for the lead portion, we're looking for people who wants a better quality of life by earning more, wants to be recognized and get more perks not available in their current job, wants to achieve their fullest potential by learning new skills, wants to travel and see the world for free. Yes, we offer free trip incentives, wants to be an advocate of financial literacy, and of course, have a chance to jumpstart your own insurance agency. So, meron po kaming openings for part-time and full-time jobs. Ayan. Okay, so here, di ba, ayan na, at Jobs 180, ayan. Meron po tayo ditong link. Ayan, so nakalagay na rin po natin siya sa screen. You can apply online at https www.jobs180.com/PruLifeUK Yan. So, or pwede nyo rin pong scan yung QR code. Okay, so that's it for me. If you have questions, ayan, we will entertain them now. Thank you.
All right, so thank you so much, Miss Ems. Thank you for sharing actually importance of savings nga po, no? So thank you for that. Help students natin who would soon venturing, 'di ba, na sa world of work. Ayan. So mas importante sa kanila ito malaman yung topic na ito. So to our audience, if you have questions regarding the topic, please feel free to post your questions on the comment section. Miss Ems, um is our last speaker. So, ayan. So, if you have questions, meron tayong question, ma'am, from Sir Ian Kitaleg. So, what's the part-time?
Ayan, so naririnig naman ako, no? So, ayan. So, medyo choppy
Yes,
lang kasi
ma'am.
siya. Ayan, okay. So, ayun siya, Ian, Angelo. So, financial consultant talaga. So, like what we're doing, we're sharing. Okay? Sinishare natin yung financial literacy to other people. So, yun yung ginagawa namin. So, actually, marami kaming mga teachers nga ngayon din dito, no? At iba-ibang profession, engineers, na nagpa-part-time work sila as financial consultants. Ayun. Sir Ian, okay na po ba?
As being a financial consultant. Ayan. So, if you're interested, you may submit your resume link at www.jobs180.com to Live UK Trust Media. So, another question, SMs, follow-up question from Sir Ian. So, for finance graduates lang po ba or pwede kahit sa ibang course?
As long as bachelor's course naman, pwede. 4-year course graduate. Any course will do.
Huwag po kayong mahiyang magtanong. Miss Ems po ay last speaker natin for today. So ako, Miss Ems, may question ako, no? So, for some Filipino kasi or parang most of the Filipinos ay actually hanggang ngayon ay pagdating sa savings, hirap pa rin po, no? So what are the Filipino attitude, common Filipino attitude towards saving po?
Kasi ako, when I started, nung nag-ano rin sila sa akin, nag-offer sila sa akin yan. So, ang aking unang reaction talaga, syempre, we're talking about insurance muna, no? Ay, di ba pampatay lang yan? Mga ganon. So, syempre, pag nakausap mo, no? Good thing, di ba? Meron na tayong VUL ngayon na may kasama siyang investment. So, ang lagi namin naririnig is yun nga, just like yung in-explain ko kanina, ay wala kasi akong pera, ay hindi ko kasi kaya. Parang gano'n. Tapos malalaman ko na lang, 'di ba? So what are your expenses? So doon mo malalaman kasi kailangan niyo magsulat or mag-breakdown ano ba yung expenses mo today. 'Di ba? So sabi ko nga kanina, kapag hindi mo kaya mag-save ngayon, wala kang karapatang magkasakit, wala kang karapatang mamatay. Kasi you're saving for your future self. As long as you're working ngayon, kailangan nagsisave ka na rin for your future self. So ang common misconception is hindi pa naman ako mamamatay, malakas pa naman ako, saka na lang ako kukuha pag may pera ako. So, those are the usual answers na nakukuha namin. Okay, so, pag ganun kasi kailangan natin kunin, ano ba yung goal mo in the future? Ano ba yung financial goal mo in the future? Diba? Gaano mo ka-love yung family mo para kung ano man ang mangyari sa'yo. Kasi we're working not just for ourselves, diba? But for our loved ones. So, kailangan natin i-ensure din yung future din ng loved ones natin. Ayan. So, we answer based on their objections talaga, mga ganun. Pero yun yung mga common na nakukuha namin answers pag pag kinakausap namin sila. Ayan.
Nasa laylayan po, no? So,
Yes.
baka ang mindset kasi is sa family nga kulang yung sahod or yung budget, yung sweldo, how much more to save pa po 'no. So,
Mm.
feeling ko may mga mindset na ganyan pa rin 'no, kaya, um, sobrang hirap i-encourage yung mga, tao na ito to save po. Medyo
Hello?
choppy pala ako. Ayan, I hope you can
Oo.
hear me, Miss Ems. Ayan.
Ayan, so, ayun, so parang, yung last na narinig ko sa'yo, Miss Joyce, is yun yung mahirap silang i-encourage, no? That's the reason why we also have an opening din for financial consultants. If they want to do it part-time, syempre additional din sa kanila yon. Kasi sa ngayon kasi, hindi pwede tayong umasa sa isang source of income lang. Kailangan talaga natin ng multiple streams of income para 'di ba? So your 9 to 5 jobs, pay your bills, 'di ba? Yung namang pag part-time mo naman is para naman sa future goals mo and dreams mo in life. Ayan, 'di ba?
Alright,
So,
thank you, ma'am. And, another question po is, which is more important to invest?
sorry, ano po? Sorry, Miss Joyce.
Ayan, so apologies, medyo
Hmm.
nawawala po ang aking, internet connection. So another, question, ma'am. So I hope you can hear me now. So
Yes.
which is
Mm-mm.
more important? Is it to save or is it to invest?
Actually for me, since meron naman kaming ano no, program, kasi 'di ba na-explain ko naman kanina yung difference between savings lang. Kailangan pa rin natin mag-save. Pero yun yung mga emergency natin na mahawakan natin agad, yung liquid cash. So dapat may savings ka, may investment ka din. So I would not rather na sabihin na kailangan ba mag-invest ako or kailangan ba mag-save ako. Both actually. Kung kaya natin siyang pagsabayan, why not? Save and invest at the same time. Ayun.
Eh, ma'am, last po, ito madalas namin tinatanong sa aming mga, speaker 'no, pagdating
Mm.
sa, about financial to the fullest, 'di mo madadala yung pera mo sa hukay. So hanggang sa wala nang matira, pero at least sumaya ka daw po sa moment. Or, vice versa, ipon ka ng ipon pero tumanda kang malungkot naman. So does that mean po ba that, money can buy happiness?
Actually for me, it can't buy happiness talaga, yung money mo, 'di ba? So for
Mm.
me, mas better na to save for my family and for my loved ones in the future. Para just in case, 'di ba? Hindi mo naman talaga siya madadala. Pero wala ka rin naman maiiwan. So parang ang sad naman, wala ka na nga nadala, wala ka pang naiwan, 'di ba? Sabi nga pag mahirap ka at gusto mo magpamana, okay, so ilagay mo yung money mo sa ano, sa insurance para may pamana kang millions. Kasi mahirap ka, ito lang yung way para makapagpamana ka ng millions sa family mo eh. I-save mo siya sa insurance. So yun lang yun sa akin. Sarili kong opinion.
Na lang po to our graduating students, ma'am.
Sorry, Miss Joyce, choppy talaga. Ano po ba yan? Final words. Tama po ba? Yung ba yung question? Miss Joyce? Final words. Okay, final words for graduating students. Well, first of all, congratulations. 'Di ba na-pull up natin siya, 'di ba? Yung ating studies. So congratulations everyone for a job well done. Congratulations kasi pag-graduate na kayo. So once you start working, ayan, advice ko sa inyo, syempre yung first sahod nyo, yes, sige, pwede nyo yan ibigay sa parents nyo, treat yourself. But then again, yung second na sahod nyo, please, 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 kailangan din magtabi tayo para sa future self natin. Hindi naman, kukurot lang tayo. Hindi natin kailangan malaki. Hindi natin kailangan start na malaki. Pwede tayo mag-start as little as long as meron. Kasi emergencies can happen anytime. At ang importante doon is handa tayo. So that's all. Congratulations and thank you Jobs 180 for this opportunity. No? Ayan.
All right. Thank you so much also, Miss Ems. Thank you po for sharing your time and knowledge this morning. So thank you so much, ma'am. We wish to have you on our next set of webinars.
All right. Thank you
Ingat
so
po.
much.
Thank you, ma'am. our program, maybe call on.
Thank you very much, Ms. Joyce. And we'd like to thank also Ernst& Young, PruLife UK, Crosslia, and Inspiro for these wonderful sharings. Truly, you have given us not just the new ones, but also those who are way ahead of life. Ayoko lang sabihin na medyo yung mga matatanda na. A new perspective on the way things are in the new normal. It is fascinating to know how quickly these changes were made. It had been what, 2 years, but we have made strides. We are thankful for the speakers for their invaluable lessons shared and the experiences they have been molding our future leaders to become the best versions of themselves. I hope our students also got a chance to know more about the companies and have a wider, broader view of what's next to come. Malay natin, mapadpad kayo sa poder nila and masabi ninyong, uy, si Sir Dennis, si Ma'am M, si Sir Patrick, sila yung nagturo sa amin nito. We'd also like to thank Jobs 180 for their unending support to the university's endeavor. We hope that we will be able to invite you for a face-to-face event as well for the next school year. To the graduating students, use this time to ponder and better yourselves through the different learnings you got from us. Let this be the start of your journey into a new page in your life. Congratulations, UCNs, and yes, you can. Good morning po sa ating lahat. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Sir Eldon, for that very inspiring message and reminders to the students. By the way, I'm filling in for our MC, Miss Joyce, because of some technical issues. My name is Kim, and with that, I would also like to remind the audience to answer the evaluation form for this event. It's now being flashed on the screen, and you can see that. So we'll give you time to write it down, and it's also in the comment section in case you miss it out. And so also no aside from this evaluation, sige, okay lang, sulat niyo muna. I will give you some more time, mga 10 seconds pa. Okay. We also want to promote an upcoming event for one of our company partners. If in case you are interested to explore other career opportunities other than those that we have invited this morning from PruLife, from Inspiro, and also from Ernst& Young, you might want to check out the thing that's being flashed on the screen right now. You can scan that QR code, or you can go through the registration for free. Wala tong bayad, no? Libre tong registration. And there will be an open house on August 5 and 8. So those are 2 days for Optum. No? So this is from 2 o'clock to 5 p.m. I've seen this happen before. This is not their first time that they were able to provide opportunities for that day, as in they were able to hire a lot of people on that day. So I am looking forward that if you are interested to explore career opportunities, you can also check out Optum. Yung link nila, in case you want to know about other opportunities, go to jobs180.com/Optum. Okay, ayan. Now, aside from that, syempre, no, the program will not be possible. So we'd like to thank everyone, each of you guys here, for staying all throughout the event. We hope that this webinar helped you, no, to prepare in the world of work. Malapit ng ilang tulog na lang, di ba? Officially, you are part of the unemployed world kung wala pa kayong trabaho. So, we wish you all the best and good luck, no, in your future endeavors. It is okay to fail. Just remember to always stand up and try again. Lahat naman nagkakamali eh. Wala naman perfecto, di ba? Sabi nga nila, walang perfect. So, you can always learn from the mistakes. Di ba? Yan. And we also like to thank, of course, Sir Eldon Soriano, no, from the Career Placement Office ng University of Cordilleras, for collaborating, na hindi nagsasawa, no, sa pag-collaborate with jobs180.com. So we're always looking forward to more activities in the future with you, sir, and with your students. Yan, sa susunod na school year ulit. Okay? So with that, ano pa ba? Reminder pa, isa pa, no? Please watch the next set of webinars that we're going to have. Marami tayong ginagawang mga webinars like this in lecture series. So just follow us sa Facebook, saka sa youtube.com/jobs180. Check it out. Marami tayong mga previous events na, at marami pang mga upcoming events that we are going to host. So at this juncture, the program has finally concluded officially. No, tapos na po. No, my name again is Kim Chua. Don't forget yung wa, baka Kim Chu lang maalala ninyo. Filling in for our MC this morning, si Ma'am Joyce Katakutan. Ayan. So looking forward to see you again soon. Be safe, everyone. Bye-bye.
The clinical trial market as we know it is about to change. We're revolutionizing the current state aligned to disparate, slow, and often manual processes. Optum's vision is to transform the drug development process to one that is centered and grounded in real-world patient behavior and physician practice. Optum's ability to access this unique network and fold in the strongest data and analytics expertise will enable us to jointly bring life-saving drugs to the patients who need it most. Join us in this partnership to bring our shared vision for real-time, real-world healthcare research for real patients.
Change. It happens when you least expect it, but also when you embrace it. At Accenture, we help the world's biggest brands thrive through change. Our people combine technology and creativity, expertise and experience, learning and collaboration, passion and purpose to make a difference for our clients, their customers, our company, and our communities. Behind every great change is a great human. Bring your skills, your curiosity, and your true self to your work every day. Let's do incredible things. Let's deliver on the promise of technology and human ingenuity.